A very good evening to you. Thanks for joining us on the Friday edition of the show. I'm here, me, Adebayo. Well, a little day ahead of us tomorrow on Saturday. You have the Italian Cup final. You have the FA Cup in England. You have the running in the English Premier League. You have the NWFL Super Six. You also have, well, over the weekend, the CAF U-20 AFCON, the third place, and the final. We also have in Spain celebration galore for the Catalan giants Barcelona. There's a lot to pick from, starting from today down to the weekend. Sporting action everywhere, and we're here to set the tone for you properly as we allow you sit back, relax, and get into the mood for the sporting weekend. All right, so that's it. Well, it's a two-man show. My colleague Austin Okona Akman is suited and ready as we go along on this ride.
It's quite a greatest to you, Yemi, and of course, our many viewers from all over the world. You mentioned quite a number of things going down. Let me add that in England, it's the big FA Cup final. We're looking forward to that one also. In Nigeria, the 22nd edition of the National Sports Festival kicked off today. That one also should get us talking. Governor Dapo Abiodun of Ogun State has said that the Gateway Games will be the benchmark for organizing the National Sports Festival when they are done. So we're really looking forward to that one to see what Ogun will serve to us, when talking about sports development in Nigeria. So all of that will definitely get us talking. There is the English Premier League game going on between Aston Villa and Tottenham. I said it on this show last night. I don't see any way out of that one. For Tottenham, let me see that game live. I know Konsa and Kamara scored 2 goals. So Aston Villa, 75 minutes played now, Yemi. It's Aston Villa 2, Tottenham 0. The game between Manchester United and Chelsea at Stamford Bridge is approaching halftime, and it's still goalless.
All right, so we'll see what happens in all of those matches. Well, tonight on the show, James Olumide Akombi joins us. James, greetings to you. Thanks for joining us on the show on a night previewing a weekend where we're spoiled for choices.
Yeah, good evening, Yemi, and of course to Austin. It's good to be here once again. Yes, a lot of sporting activity. I think the one that caught my eye most is the Italian Open. The golf Paolini final. Golf is going to be playing the home favorite. They haven't won, a woman hasn't won in Italy for about 20 years. So this is very big for the Italian, big for the home fans. And of course, for Coco, it's also big for her. She needs to win this one. We already know she's going to be number 2 come next week. And of course, we have to talk about the FA Cup. City, they've had a tough this season. If they win this one, I think it will be a big deal for them, for Pep, and you say to yourself, it hasn't really been a bad season all by
Trust me, for their standards, it's a very bad season. But Arsenal would have done anything to get their hands on any trophy. All right, so let's move over and talk about the CAF U-20. That's where we're going now. I'm going to go across in a bit, but James, in a minute. The essence of this competition is developmental.
Yeah.
And in this climb, we celebrate winnings, we celebrate tournament victories, whether or not it comes at the cost of development, which is a problem. Have we achieved anything with this tournament?
Well, there's one positive. We're playing at the World Cup. I think it would have been really bad if we didn't make the World Cup. So maybe that's one positive. On the other hand, you don't want to lose against South Africa after defeating the... Maybe that isn't good. Now, going to the Gladiators, talking about the players now, I think I have seen 4 promising players. The 2 Sporting Lagos players, talking about the goalkeeper himself, Ebenezer, and of course you talk about Okoro, the left back. These 2 players, you talk about the striker also. I think that for Iron, I think he's also one promising player for the future. And I probably will talk about the captain.
Okay.
These are the 4 players I think I've seen that I can say maybe that's something we have achieved alongside qualifying for the World Cup.
I'm not very sure my colleague Osno Konakwan agrees. We'll hear him in a bit. But let me go across the screen. For Ebenezer Akot, surely I would agree, kept us going up until this point. So, third place and final. Third place game, Flying Eagles of Nigeria will be up against the host country, Egypt. Then in the final, South Africa against Morocco. For these 4 countries, they've qualified for the FIFA Under-20 World Cup. And so they will be looking towards winning something for bragging rights. All right. So, I mean, also I want to get your thoughts. We've talked about this thing extensively. I'm not going to ask you if we've achieved our aims and objective, if you've seen any players that'll be flogging a dead horse because you've already spoken your mind. You're free to dispute what James has said if you feel like doing so. But, I mean, what is left? If you were Coach Zubairu, would it be at all costs, let's win this bronze, or you probably roll out some of the players that haven't really seen much action because we've already qualified for the World Cup?
I think I'll do a mix of both, but I would like to also see the other guys. They didn't get a chance to play, and this is just one time that their light might just shine. But I know our country and the way we love winning, just so we can come back and get some handshake that will make people smile. I said what I said as regards our performance at the tournaments. There was zero tactical depth, no tactical discipline. It's just kick and follow kind of football. That's why we didn't see any sort of coordination that gave us goals. I think the game against Kenya was one that they really needed to dig deep not to lose it, and they did. But we saw them struggle against Senegal, and then against South Africa. And I said what I said. At the time we considered this goal. By the way, shout out to Tylen Smith. I've been reading a lot about this guy. Fantastic central defender for South Africa. Also young. And if you see the way, the technique behind that header, it's one that we really need to sit down and ask ourselves, are we building? The answer is simple. From my point of view, I'm saying it, we aren't building. So Coach Zubairu, you have qualified for the World Cup. If there are players on the bench that you think can, actually push the other guys to say, look, I didn't get to play, but this one time that I'm playing, I'm doing something different. And I think coaching also got a voice at this CAF Under-20 World Cup. I like what the leadership of CAF seems to be doing. Every now and then, they want to see the sort of coaches that will have their quality, their understanding of the game. The game is moving so fast. Before we used to say 90% is the brain. I think it has moved to 95% now. So if you are not putting some bit of coaching knowledge into it, then application will be dead, And I said it right from time. I'm not surprised that South Africa have made it yet. They topped their group. They are still unbeaten. Go and watch Morocco and the way they play. You can tell the difference is so clear. We should build. We must respect building. We must respect processes in Nigeria. It's from bottom to the top, So Olumide didn't do anything wrong with, mentioning some names that he thinks, can make the difference maybe at the World Cup. But at this level, Yemi, we want to see a team, a solid team that we can now say, okay, because there's so much of a team. This guy stood out, this guy stood out. That's what we saw at the World Cup in 2015 that gave us the Victor Osimhen of the world today. And was it only Victor Osimhen in that team? No, it wasn't. I think there's Samuel Chukwueze that also played good football. The Taiwo Awoniyi and the rest. So that's the level I want us to get back to with our football. And until we do that, Yemi, it will still be try to qualify for competition, do all the best you can to see if you can have a medal on your neck, and then we go back to where we are just starting again.
Let me ask you this question. Yeah. I didn't want to go down this route, but I mean, you made me think. Why is it hard to do the right thing?
That's it. I mean, you see, I told you, I met this guy. He's 79 years old. I went to the German School of Sports. And the man said, for you to build, you must have conscience. Yeah, I mean, we do not have leaders who's got conscience to understand that this thing takes time. It's what you sow, you reap. We just want to do and answer is what you get, you know. So I mean, it is what it is. When was the last time you and I we talk about these things all the time? They don't. Yeah. When was the last time we go? No, that's a promising talent. That's somebody we can look out for. See, it's happening with the women because at that level they are not doing at all costs. If they go out there, they win, they win. But see the women now too, they are complaining that what you do for the men, do for us. You don't want to get us ready for competition and then they want to put together one sort of friendly. We must be deliberate, you know, particularly with long-term planning. I've said these things over and over again. I understand that Shehu Diko and Bukola Olopade, they'll be trying so hard to see if they can disrupt the process, but it's a system. That system, until we look, we need to just scatter everything.
All right, we need to blow everything open. Maybe
That's
by
the
then.
only way. I mean, people will be offended, people will feel bad, but now we know we want to start. Yeah, I mean, 6 years ago, we were still calling South Africa our wife in football at every level. Do you know you can't do it with women's football with them? You can't even do it with Barcelona and Super Eagles. I see under 20 now. Are we not thinking that people are catching up and overtaking?
It's so sad, but I mean, we're not going to flog dead horse. I hope the administrators are really listening. If you're doing something and it's not working, there's no need to keep repeating. And if you keep leveraging on talent, other countries, they are talented and they are putting the structures in place. I mean, James, we have to move on. We could go on and begin to talk about these things. I know you were smiling all the way when Austin was saying those things. I'm very sure if we take a tape of 6 years ago, Austin probably said the same thing 6 years ago, probably said the same thing 10 years ago. But anyway, let's move on. Let's talk about the women on the show tonight. We talked extensively about them yesterday, but again, we have to do it again today because tomorrow it's going to be decided. And so, the fixtures, match day 5 fixtures, the ones we were not able to touch up on yesterday, so we'll do that today. Very interesting, Edo Queens and Nasarawa Amazons. I mean, I don't know why I feel the winner was going to come from this game. I don't know. The overall winner. Edo Queens, Nasarawa, they both have their destiny in their own hands. Stop the other person, stop the other team, and the best way is win. And so they know the other person is not going to get more points. Bayelsa Queens will be up against Niger Red Tails. Remo Stars Ladies will be up against Rivers Angels. James, let me get your thoughts. You're going to see the table, and you're going to use it, balance it with the fixtures. Where do you think the pendulum could swing? 4 teams mathematically can still win.
Yeah, 4 teams: the Amazons, Edo Queen, Bayelsa Queens, and of course Remo Stars Ladies. These are 4 teams that can still win. But I think I'll pitch my tent with Nasarawa Amazons. You go back to the regular season and you look at how they performed all the way to the number of games played already in the Super Six. They've picked the most points. They've won the most games. They've been the most convincing team in terms of how they've gone about their business, the approach, the mentality. You can see the direction. And I look at that, and you look at this tournament, the tradition of this tournament. The last 4 editions have been won by different teams. So when you factor that into this, you know that Edo Queens are likely not going to retain the title. I feel that the Amazons will win this. And I don't think that the table, maybe the only thing that will change on this table is, of course, Bayelsa Queens are going to beat Niger Red Tails. They are the whipping team here, talking about the Red Tails now. So they're going to lose against Bayelsa Queens.
Going to donate another 3 points.
And that takes Bayelsa Queens to 10 points. Nasarawa Amazons also need to win. And I think they will beat Edo Queens to win this.
Okay. I mean, we've done our permutations. I don't know if Austin agrees. It will be sad to see a team not lose a game and yet not win the tournament. But that's what you said yesterday. It could happen. You may not lose, but if you draw and the other teams, I mean, I'm
That's
looking
it.
at the calculations now, and it can't happen. So Nasra Amazons cannot afford to say, well, yeah, we're on 8 points. I mean, we're on 7 points. Okay, we're on 8 points.
8 points, yeah.
They have to win to ensure that it's in their hands.
And I'm the guy who will bring you that bad news that will start making you think, what if they now play goalless in their match? They play a goalless draw, a 1-1 draw, and then Bayelsa Queen goes on to beat Niger Rattles, get 10 points, and go on top. That's how football works, you know.
Wow.
But I'm sure we're all talking about Nassau Amazons now, and Edo Queens, they are looking at it and say, we beat these guys, we take leadership. We beat these guys, we have our destiny in our hands, and that's what puts so much prominence on that game, you know. I'm sure Edo Queens, they are still looking back and they are beating
Also,
themselves.
let me do this quickly. You know, look, and I like the fact that we're talking about women's football and we're this excited. Talk about women's football. And something came into my mind. If Edo Queens beat Nasra Amazons, I have a feeling they may not even be doing the job for themselves. They may actually be doing the job, because you look at the goal difference, they are definitely not going to be able to hit Nasra Amazons with the number of goals that Bayelsa will probably hit Rattles. So, if you bring Edo Queens into that kind of picture, would they be doing it for themselves or be doing it for the other team?
And that's the beauty of football, particularly the women's game. You see this sort of goal now. I'm sure on a good day, Osigwe will not expect that, she will score that because she didn't hit it the way she wanted. And then it got in, you know. This is the only reason I'm not speaking the way I do with football is because Bayelsa Queens, they have shown that they cannot lose when they really want something. But Yemi, you never could tell. Edo Queens can just come out and then beat Nasara Amazon silly. It can also turn the other way. You might just see 4-0, 5-0, and then you start tells in the regular season was that team that will just look as they beat this big team. I think they did it to Rivers Angels and one of them, I think FC Robo Queens. So you never could tell. Something might just go wrong. And we'll come back and say, what is happening? That is the beauty of the game. This game called football, where impossible is nothing. Where you sit there and start talking about it like you know it, and then you get stunned, beaten so bad. That is it here. So they will all go into that game, Bayelsa Queens, Nassau Amazons, and Edo Queens. And don't even forget, Remo Stars ladies too. These 4 teams, all they need to do is just keep winning until that final day where they will have, you know, whatever football wants to give to them. But I totally get you. Edo Queens, you know, beating National Amazons might just doing favor to another team. But hey, get ready, because this time around they'll throw everything that they have. And I was talking to Coach Christopher Danjuma one time. I said, with the women's game, you'll finish talking to them, they'll get to that pitch and the emotions will get over the place and they do what they want to do. So those Edo Queens girls are just saying, okay, we've listened to Coach Moses Adukubo. We want to score goals. And then they'll come and probably score goals. You and I will come back and talk about it for the love of the game.
All right. Interesting. James, let me get your thoughts in a few seconds. Rivers, Angels, Niger Rattles, not in reckoning for anything, but how big of a role would they play in determining who wins?
For Niger Rattles, I don't think they can do anything. I feel Bayelsa will win. Bayelsa Queens will win. So maybe you can say they will do Bayelsa Queens a favor
by shipping in goals.
By shipping in goals. Maybe that's the only thing they will get to contribute to them probably winning this if they get to win it. For Rivers Angels against Remo Stars ladies.
Could they be an albatross? Could they be in the way of Remo?
That's going to be a little bit difficult, because I feel that in this tournament, they haven't really shown that they are that team that we know them to be. And Remo Stars ladies, home advantage. They are playing at home. This is a game that they also need to win. They need to win this. They need to show that all that they have done in the regular season and how they started this tournament. They won their first 2 games, and then they just somehow just capitulated. You want to end on a high. Even if you don't win, give the home fans something to cheer.
Sure. All right. Let's go on a break right about now. When we return from that break, we'll travel abroad. We'll go to where football. We'll go back to the origin of football, United Kingdom. We'll talk about football. We'll talk about the FA Cup. We'll talk about the games currently going on. And of course, we'll talk about celebration. The Catalan Giants, Barcelona, celebrating winning the La Liga. We'll do all of that when we return from this break. We're done talking about the NWFL Super Six. Of course, the final will be tomorrow. And of course, we'll be back here next week to talk about it all. Let's travel abroad now. Go to the United Kingdom to talk about the FA Cup. Manchester City has been in the news. A lot of people feel maybe it's redemption for them if they win. I'll go across in a few seconds, just set the tone for this discussion. Austin will take points on this discussion about the FA Cup. Let me just quickly go across. You can see Pep Guardiola in your picture leading his troop in training. Let's give you the final match details. The English FA Cup is going to be played tomorrow. Of course, the date's May 17, 2025. It's when it's going to happen. And of course, the time 4:30 p.m. The stadium, as you already know, the home of football, it is Wembley. And the referee is going to be Stuart Atwell. It's going to be the man in the center. It will be Crystal Palace up against Manchester City, the Emirates FA Cup. So that's what it is. All right, Austin, let me, pass the ball to you. But I'll do that with this question. Pep Guardiola has told us, look, even winning the FA Cup cannot atone for how bad this season has gone. But do you think the fans agree with that kind of assessment?
Yeah, somehow, because as you said, it'll be good redemption song. But I'm just trying to imagine the damage it would do to them if they don't beat Crystal Palace to win it. Now they've released a statement that they will not be doing their normal, trophy parade that they've done in the last 3 seasons. And that tells you that the mood isn't right, And it could also be pressure, it could be tension. They don't want to go and prepare for a trophy parade and then they win the trophy. Football will humble you, But it is what it is. They're in the final. They've got a big game to play. They will prepare for it. And gracious goodness, going against a team that is so unpredictable. Crystal Palace would like to put this in their history books and remember it for a long, long time. So they will come out and give everything. And Crystal Palace on a good day, they can hurt any big team, So Pep Guardiola and his team, they understand that, look, if we do not win this, we are being bashed in the media. So imagine if they now don't beat Crystal Palace because the odds favor them. They look like the team that should go ahead and win it. Pep Guardiola has been speaking. Let's listen to and I will get James, to react to whatever he talks about.
It's a fantastic team. They made a good season, already the second part of the season. So long time already, more than a month and a year with Oliver, working with the same players. So it's a final FA Cup. It's an honor, privilege, for 3 times in a row, being there. And of course, we had to perform well. And we traveled to London to win the title. Pace, the quality, when it's ready, because they have quality. The Lombos Meteta is strong, and after I would say the quality in this is, is obvious, and of course the pace from SARS against Aston Villa in semi-finals, they punish them a lot. Have an incredible pace, but not just him. Munoz, Wharton is a really good holding midfielder, link really well inside, and well-structured defensive, difficult to tap, set pieces, maybe one of the best in the Premier League. So, but it's a final too. If we play against Crystal Palace, we should have played against Aston Villa, it should be the same. So it's a final, we cannot expect differently.
Yeah, I said Pep Guardiola. Yeah, he said it clearly, James, that look, as a team, we've been awful, and even if we win this FA Cup, it doesn't make us successful. Do you think it's mind games?
Of course, that's what it is. I don't listen to Pep Guardiola. He understands the mind game thing. Jose, Pep Guardiola, they are masters when it comes to they know how to play down whatever you ask them. They play it down and then twist it around and push it in the corner of the opposition. They don't want all the attention coming to them. I don't know if that's strength for them. Maybe they don't just want to be overwhelmed by the events ahead of them, and also maybe give the players some measure of confidence in terms of psychology. You don't want to pressure them going into that game based on expectation. You look at them, City is Pep Guardiola, but again, like I said, Austin, I listen to Pep Guardiola and I don't listen because I know that's mind game.
It's mind game. Right. Austin, his opposite number is speaking as well. It will be a big deal if Crystal Palace gets a win.
It will be, and I listened to McGay saying that, look, this will go down the history books, and I totally agree. I think body language from both teams I have seen here. I mean, Crystal Palace really wants this. If you live there, they will get into that field with guns, because they will say to themselves, what do you need for Manchester City? You had a bad season, just go, close the doors for your bad season. But let's listen to the coach and captain of Crystal Palace ahead of that crucial FA Cup tie against Manchester City.
I don't know. If something is the first time in your life, then it's maybe you have. It means more to you than when you have it every single year. City, I don't know under Pep how many trophies they've won, how many finals they have played. So definitely more than Crystal Palace has. But I think still, for the players, for the manager, for a club, is winning a trophy, winning a title is always something great in a season. So I don't expect that they will wave with the white flag and then say, okay, it's the first title for Crystal Palace. You should get it. So I think they will fight for winning it.
I think they're really aware of how up for it we are. The managers mentioned, the process. That's training, that's the preparation, and that's just focusing on the game. Not focusing on the trophy or anything else, but making sure that when we go out there, we're ourselves, we enjoy the occasion, and we stay focused and we do the best that we can.
So that's it, Crystal Palace manager speaking ahead of that big one against Manchester City. And look, I've watched Crystal Palace. James, you underrate them at your own peril. They are that sort of team that on their day, if they want to beat any big team, they would. And I think in the last 4 seasons, they somehow know how to play Manchester City if you go back and check their league records. But winning the first ever silverware is a big deal for the team. Do you think that's enough motivation for them?
Maybe they can draw inspiration from if we do this is big for us, for the players, business end of the season. I'm sure some of them want to play for a bigger team. You look at Eze and you say to yourself, I think it's too big for that team. He needs to play somewhere else.
Sarr as well.
Yeah, Sarr, yeah. Even the captain that we just listened to.
Yeah.
So the only way or the only window for you to showcase yourself to the globe and make a statement is, I think these are the games that you need. So when you look at that, maybe a lot of inspiration they can draw from all of these things. But the last time City failed to score a goal in a game, like they did against Southampton at the weekend, the next opposition was Crystal Palace, and they got hit for 5. So I'm looking at how angry Pep Guardiola and the boys are, because after that game against Southampton, they were very, very upset about how that game went. And I'm sure they want to rewrite that wrong with this. They played at Wembley a couple of times. They understand this. They were in the final the last time, lost to United. I'm not sure they want to lose a back-to-back final. With how the season has gone, this is one thing you can do. Win this and then make a good case for your season. Because we know in football games, you will always have that bad patch. But you have to end on a high. I'm always on the path of ending on a high. So I think that, yes, Austin, they can draw inspiration from, if we win this, this is big for us. we can make a case and get a profile playing for bigger teams. But I think City will be too difficult to handle.
Okay. To be honest, I agree. I agree. I'd wanted to sit on the fence, but I have to agree. All right, let's move on now on the show. It's time to talk about something that is dear to our heart. Our own Tawa Woni, of course, and his club. Put out statements, try to douse the tension, put out the fires, and there's sort of calm now. But of course, coach of the team, Nuno Espirito Santo, has been talking about how Awoni and the news available. So let's hear the information he has from the horse's mouth. We'll come back to talk some more about this situation.
So he went to surgery. The surgery went well, thank God. So he's on observation now, but I think he's recovering. We still have to wait for the doctors to allow visits, and his family are there. We are concerned, but we are positive. It's been very difficult on us, on everybody. The concern of the injury that he had, the situation that he went through. It's been hard on us. Yeah, but the law is like that. No, we cannot blame the referees on that. They follow the guidance. So it was clear offside. Everybody knew, but the players have the instruction to play to the whistle. The referees have the instruction to play to the whistle. So unfortunately, it happened. But since this law came was immediately some concerns regarding that aspect of the game. That serious things can happen, or even in terms of the law by himself, if there's a red card after offside, how can you control that, all these situations? But they are aware. I think it's more than anything about the law, because the law cannot change now for the next season. It's about the guidance of the referees. When it's so clear, let's try to avoid.
All right, Nuno Espirito. I'm getting ahead of myself. Nuno Espirito Santo there. A lot to unpack. But I'll let you speak about one. We know our boy will be back very soon. It's okay. That's good to hear. How soon he will return to football, I don't know. But it's chipped in again on the offside rule. Not the rule per se, but the guidance, the officials have received, which is always, look, if you're in doubt, just let it play out. If he ends up in a goal, VAR is going to clean it up. Yeah. But some people are already saying, look, if you're sure, just wave. So he's saying, look, this season is done. As somebody who loves football, as a journalist, in fact, at the heart of it all, as a football fan, would you love that directive to be done away with straight away? Or you keep it. You keep it.
I think you should keep it the way it is. All this changing and changing. Sometimes, I think that it doesn't also help the game. You have this rule this season. The next you change it. The next you change it. The truth is that we're always looking out for perfection, but it can never be perfect. That as long as you have the human angle in this. These people are not robots. Sometimes you just want to allow the flow of the game, go on. I feel that for me, I look at the positives from the way the rule is currently, what we have currently. I think you should just allow play go on. And then you have the VAR call it, check it. And then you have
So after I've celebrated for 3 minutes.
So that's the thing about players. Wait, I think that sometimes they know when they are offside.
Let me give you a scenario. Just for laughs anyway. An offside, the linesman lets it go. I go on the score. I take my shirt off. I'm on a yellow. The ref gives me a second yellow. I get a red. The VAR checks. It wasn't a goal. I'm just saying.
No,
just imagine that scenario, how funny it will be.
It looks complicated.
It doesn't look complicated. It is complicated. All right. So let's move on the show. Anyhow, is it in the news? It's going to be playing against Arsenal. They have the destiny in their own hands. Win this game, and you will be sitting in pole position, but they have to go and do it at the Emirates. So I don't know how that will be. But Austin, anyhow, is our next port of call. You must give him some credit for what he has done with that club, especially in a season where they were a bit tight with funds, because the impression we had is that they have deep pockets. But the last 2 seasons, they've been tight with funds.
And he managed the injuries so well also. The sort of injuries that Postecoglou would have complained about, Arteta would have complained about, he managed the injury. He also had a crisis with Tony Ali, remember?
Yeah.
Came back, fit him well into the team again. His player management is top-notch. Look, people don't understand the sort of work Eddie Howe has done with this Newcastle team. Gave them a trophy league, and he has kept the team together. And they play good football. And as it is, if you look at the league table, they can still, if Arsenal doesn't want to finish in second position, they can still push Arsenal out of the way because they have 66 points, and if they win that game, they go to 69. You see, this is the same Newcastle. He managed all of their problems till this point. And the last game, they really needed to win. They needed to show character, and they did. So Eddie Howe has shown that, look, football is a good combination of you get the right players, but as a coach, you should be able to use them. And that's why I'm so proud of him. Let's see what they can do in that fixture against Arsenal. But I am more than confident. If you want to take Arsenal, Newcastle in the last 3 seasons, Yemi, I'm sure you know where that result is going. Let's listen to Eddie Howe.
No, it's not done, and I think the picture can change game to game. And I think that's what we've got to be really focused on, is just our next game and trying to win it, which we will do, and we have done this week. I think the preparation's been good. The focus has been there from the players. You know, I think the outside noise will always be swayed by how you've done, and it's positive, but nothing's achieved until it's achieved. So we have to be really single-minded in that and not get distracted. Yeah, I think obviously it bodes well for us. I think these games we've had against Arsenal this year have been very difficult games. They've been really evenly poised. I think, you know, that we've come out on the right side of them, but the games themselves have been really tight and really difficult, as we knew they would be. And the home game was decided by a brilliant goal from Alex. And the cup games, they're always different games. There's a different feel to them. We're pleased with how we performed, but we know that if our standards had dropped a really small amount, Arsenal would have capitalised on that. So I think we go into the game with confidence from the previous games, but with a realisation we need to perform at our best, as we have done against them.
Yeah, that's it, Newcastle manager Eddie Howe, speaking ahead of that Sunday fixture against Arsenal. James, Arsenal in their last 5 games, 3 losses, 2 draws. Newcastle, 3 wins, 1 loss and a draw. Is the advantage Newcastle?
Yes, advantage Newcastle. I've looked at the table in the last 6 weeks, and I think just Villa and City is the most informed team. They've picked most points in the last 6 weeks. Now, next to them is Villa and Newcastle. So Arsenal are somewhere down there. So you can say that for Arsenal, at the business end of the season, they've regressed. Newcastle, it's been an upward trajectory for them. So when you look at that, you can only look at this game and you know Newcastle are not losing. Arsenal will probably not also lose, but I don't see Newcastle, you know, also
at the Emirates.
Yes, because you look at Newcastle, I saw the way they managed the game against Chelsea. Austin said something about the managerial acumen of Eddie Howe. And that's what I've seen him done all season. The way his team is able to adapt to the opposition. Against Chelsea, Chelsea have young boys. They have the youngest squad in the Premier League. So you're not running with them. What do? You find other ways to combat with them.
All right. James speaking like a spokesman for Newcastle, but we'll see what happens. All right, let's take you to the heart of Spain and allow you to see what happened today and what is currently going on, by the way. Celebration galore. Barcelona celebrating winning the 28th La Liga title, and thousands of fans. I mean, lined up the streets. The parade covered a 6.8-kilometer route from Camp Nou to Numancia to Catalonia. That's, I mean, you could see. The pictures tell the story. We probably should not just even see any open bus parade. You could see the celebration, the players. They wanted a treble. They didn't get it, but at least they got to. There's nothing else. I mean, I have to eat the humble pie. I told somebody Hansi Flick was a bad choice. I did. And
oh, you said that?
I did. And it turns out that I was wrong. Although a part of me still wants to give Xavi some credit because the core of this team is his team.
Yeah, that's Xavi's team. And I agree with you. But the good thing about how you measure good managers sometimes is, so you inherit a team. What do you do with that team? Do you regress
with it,
or you go
take them to another
level? And I think that's what Hansi Flick, that's what he has done with this team. I saw Rafinha under Xavi. That's not the same Rafinha.
He struggled.
He struggled a lot. But
at the point, he thought of leaving.
Exactly. But look at him. He looks like a different player in how many months? That can only be a manager's job. I don't know whatever he has said to him. Maybe he's the captain of that side. He has led by example. You have seen all the young guys, coming together.
And, as we go, I'm going to yield to my colleague. One of the things I give Hansi Flick credit for is solving most of the problems without really dipping into the transfer market. That may be a testament to what they have at La Masia. I don't know. But all those defensive frailties, some of those things, everything nipped in the bud. And, I mean, you could see that a celebration galore. Austin.
Like the teams that have won something this season, you see that coaching had a big role in it, particularly when the coach knows proper player management. When there's a crisis, I just know how to calm down. Let's put a record that Barcelona won its domestic treble. They won the Spanish Super Cup, the Copa del Rey, and now the Spanish La Liga title, their 28th. And the way this team keeps growing, come on, look at what he has done with Lamine Yamal. James mentioned when Rafinha was struggling, and then he came on, and now Rafinha is actually playing football like a beast. They are a unit. They feel bad they didn't make it to the final of the Champions League. That's actually the big target Barcelona wanted. But if you take a look at what they have achieved, you can now say that the Barca that we know, they are back. That's the show in London. I'm Austin Okonak, and in everything you do, remember, keep talking sports. Bye for now.
It's a wrap here as well, but I want to thank James Olumide Akombi for being with us on the show today.
Yeah, it's good to be here again, BME.
All right. Well, it's the last one for the week. We bid you to enjoy your weekend. You see us again next week. I'm Yemi Adebayo. Bye-bye now.